Welcome to Soltron. This is a video review for the Beast Awakens Ultimate Optimus Primal DNA Upgrade Kit. Here's the box it comes in, nothing too interesting, and it shows you all the different pieces. So you get the shoulder pads, the gorilla face, robot head, forearm armor, swords, chains. This is like a handle for the small weaponizer Optimus Primal. You get a neck joint, backpack storage, transwarp key, and then some gap fillers. And they all come in this clamshell. And then you get a nice instruction sheet that goes with it. So let's start with his robot accessories. So you get these shoulder pads, which are pretty nice, and then you get like this collar piece. I guess it's supposed to go up or down. I'm not sure how he's supposed to wear this, but basically just fits on his shoulders. And then you get these pretty good forearm bits with these blades, and these blades are just pegged in, and they're like on 6mm pegs. Actually, these are probably like 8mm. So they just swivel back around, and both the forearm pieces are the same. That's why you've got two sets of holes. So I guess if you wanted to, you could put them both on one forearm, but it's pretty decent, and it definitely changes up the way he looks pretty significantly. Like his head sculpt is much different than his original head sculpt, and he's got these beady red eyes. Here's his original head for comparison. You can see like the new head is much cooler. His original head was definitely lacking. There was a lot of problems with it. He just looks kind of old and tired. But yeah, the new head looks very sharp and sinister. He would make a great Nemesis Prime. And then overall, the quality of all the pieces is pretty good. The shoulder pads are the worst. These just slot in right there, obviously, but they're very flexible. They're a little bit too thin. If they would have gone a little bit thicker on the plastic, these would actually be pretty good quality, but they don't feel good. Everything else feels pretty great on this guy. These swords are very well made, and they have like 2 layers, so there's no waffling. And then I guess they made them big enough that he could fit them in his fist if you wanted to, but it doesn't look very good. I'm going to put these both on one forearm. Yeah, that's pretty cool. He looks very threatening with both of those blades on one forearm. And the paint, of course, is very nicely done. And there's no layer lines or anything. So these are probably just like injection molded. They're just really well made. So pretty good kit. And then he's got the transwarp key, which doesn't look amazing. I think I've got... Yeah, here's that knockoff one. I got that one laying around still. You can see the knockoff one actually has much better detail. It looks more organic. This one just looks flat and kind of dull. And then you can split it in half on these 2 pegs. Whatever. He also comes with this flexible chain, which is got a lot of pointy little pieces to it and a lot of joints. It's kind of silly. I don't know how he's supposed to wield this thing. I guess you put this sword backwards in his hand, and then he just whips the other sword around like a flail. It doesn't work great because his hand can't quite grip this tight enough. I guess now it's good. And then he just like whips it around, and it's almost firm enough that it can hold up the blades. Well, it is firm enough that it can hold up the blades in different poses, but I haven't had any success getting these into good looking poses, which is a shame. Maybe if it pegged onto his forearms or something and he just like forearm whipped it like God of War, I think it would look cool. But yeah, it's kind of pointless. These are not very good. And then of course we can compare that to the KO chains, which are not much better. They're pretty similar. All right, so this kit is not doing so well so far. Let's see. Other than like the silver armor, I do appreciate that. This looks pretty cool. The head sculpt is very good. So if you just want to change up the way your Optimus Primal looks, then definitely get it for these pieces. He looks a lot different. And then here's the handle for the weaponizer Optimus Primal, which I don't have, just so you can hold him like a pistol. And we've got gap fillers. So these are going to go in the bottom of his feet. So these are interchangeable. You're just going to press this here, and then this one will get pressed into his toe. And you can see how that looks compared to not having them in. It definitely improves the look. The waffling looks very cheap, but having these gap fillers in does look much better, I have to admit that. And then we can look at the knockoff Optimus Primal, and he doesn't have any gap fillers, so the bottom of his feet are pretty ugly. The next thing this kit comes with, and the last thing this kit comes with, is this little accessory piece, or I guess the second to last thing. And this is just going to peg on to his little back nub back here. And then these two holes here are for his missiles that came with this original figure. You just slot them into here instead of having them stick out here and impair his waist swivel. And then the other thing you can peg into here is you can peg these little bits. And then this hole here is for that weaponizer Optimus Prime. You just peg that right back there. I guess you can kind of position these so these chains are over his shoulder. I don't know. Pretty pointless. I don't know. This doesn't really add anything at all. But yeah, if you're going to get this kit, you obviously get it because you like the way this looks, or we transform him. Oh yeah, before I do that, let's take a look at him versus Optimus Primal so you can see how they look together. This is the KO, that's why he's so big. And actually, they make a pretty good looking team. Like, they look very different, except for Ape Linq here. He looks very clean compared to Optimus Primal. Like, this one looks older and dirty, whereas this guy just looks very menacing and like a new model. And then his pauldron has this articulation, and then it's got this piece that like pointlessly flips around. I don't know what the point of this is. It doesn't really do anything. His shoulder pads can move up and down if that's like makes it look better, I guess. But yeah, I kind of like the silver paint. It really differentiates him from Optimus Primal. So if you have both of these figures, I think this is a good kit to get just to make this guy more different. But let's get him into ape mode. Okay, and here he is in ape mode. He can kind of look forward, but he's not really... This figure was never really built to pose him this way, not like this figure. This guy was meant to be posed on two legs. This guy was definitely meant to be posed walking on all fours. So if we get him in this mode, he definitely looks a lot better. And then, of course, if you wanted, you can have him holding the transwarp key in his palm. So he can easily hold that. Fits in his hand very nicely. And I guess he can just offer that or whatever. And then another nice thing, now that we're looking at his face here, is, it's hard to see it, but there's like a little red plastic disc in here. You can kind of make it out. But yeah, he's got a really great opening mouth. It's very savage looking, and then it exposes his lower teeth. So if his mouth is all the way closed, it's very nice that his lips are actually closed. And then you can open it a little bit and start seeing his teeth. That's really well done. Yeah, they did a great job on the head articulation here, because you can just look around naturally as opposed to Primal's original head, which had a lot of limitations. But yeah, you can get a good look at their size difference. This guy is definitely a bit bulkier, or a lot bulkier compared to this guy. He just compresses down much nicer. But yeah, they look pretty good together. I think they scale really well. There we go. We'll get the knockoff into his all fours mode too, so you can see the size difference. But yeah, this looks pretty cool. I think he ends up pretty good in this mode as well. So the armor definitely makes him look a lot different and helps differentiate him. And then we can compare his original gorilla face. I definitely prefer this gorilla face. It just looks a lot cooler. Even though it doesn't really have any paint separation, this one just looks more savage and very evil. And then there's one last thing that this kit came with, and that's this joint right here. So this little block right here is added on, and that's supposed to help him be able to stand on both legs and look forward. So let's go ahead and disassemble the kit. We just go ahead and unpeg all of his armor pieces. And this has a little bit of flex to it too, but it's not too bad, especially when it's on the forearms. It feels very good. And then to get the ape head off and on is pretty simple. You can see that this is a mushroom peg right here. So you're just going to push on that. And the directions do tell you to be careful with this part because there could be some breakage. So hopefully that doesn't happen here on camera. And here's why you got to be careful with this ape head. It's got this extra joint here, which allows it to slide back into place and slide forward. So you can get more articulation out of it in both modes. But that does make the plastic a little bit narrow. So you got to be a little careful with that. And then we'll go ahead and pop on his new mushroom peg that came with the kit. All right. Oh. Okay. So that's in place. And there he goes. Now he can look. He can stand up and look forward and turn his head. So it's not too bad. That's kind of, to be honest, this is maybe my favorite thing about the kit. I know that's really stupid, but especially because it makes the back of his head look terrible. This is kind of the thing I was most excited about, which is kind of dumb. But yeah, that's how he looks standing up. Not that he wants to stand, because his legs are just so disjointed this way. He's just not meant to do this. It's just not meant to be. I don't even know if he can transform with this. I'm going to try it out. Okay, I can confirm that he is not going to transform with this extra joint here. You just cannot fit his head in here no matter how you rotate the joint. So this neck joint is a parts forming piece. It's just not meant to transform. So that definitely makes me much less interested in this piece. It's just not really good for anything. So it's got the same kind of build. You just pop out the mushroom pegs, and this is the extension piece. So this only works in ape mode. It's no good for transformation, so that's a shame. And then finally, for popping out his new head, it's very easy. It's just on this ball peg right here, and then you can get the original Primal head, and you're gonna have to open up the mask mode, and that exposes the ball peg, and then you just shove it forward to put it back in place, and everything's reset. Nice and easy, nice and clean. So yeah, that's this kit. And here it is with everything back in the clamshell. So is it worth the 30 bucks that I got it for on Big Bad Toy Store? I don't think so. It's not for me. I can see how somebody would really be into it with the armor up pieces and the new Ape Linq heads. I think both heads are very excellent, but I don't care about the character. I like the original stock configuration of the figure. So for this isn't for me, I'm definitely going to resell it. But if you're interested in it, you can get it on BBTS. You could probably get it on AliExpress, and that's it for that. I'll see you in the next one.